Hi and welcome to 5 Minutes with Kvesti. I know what I said in my superhero fatigue video, and I know I'm over 2 months late, and I know that digital version of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2 will be released within a few weeks, but I went to see the movie in theaters after all. Well, I didn't know the digital release was so close when I went to see it, but there were other reasons to go to see it. So I thought I will review it here. I keep this review spoiler free. At the end there's something that someone might consider as spoiler, but I don't consider a spoiler. I will talk about 2 cameos. They don't have any effect of the story, but if you want to go completely blind after this movie has been in theaters over 2 months, you can go if you stop this video when I tell this spoiler warning. First, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite Marvel Studios movies. The other one is first Avengers movie. First trailers for Volume 2 didn't promise too much. I thought that they missed the point, and I wasn't that eager to see the movie in the theaters, but then things happened and I had reason to go to theater, and Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2 was most interesting movie running at the moment. Thankfully, movie wasn't what I expected it to be from the trailers. Those things that I didn't like trailers, I didn't like that much in a movie, but in the movie they made much more sense than in a trailer, and there was much more around them which made them work better. There was only one thing I didn't like that much, and it was they had so much enemies at the time and the action was too much over the top. They felt like superheroes even though they should be kind of normal people. Well, not exactly normal people, but not these Superman level super beings. I don't remember them to be that overpowered in first movie. I think first movie was more grounded. I haven't seen that for a while and I had to check it to make sure, but I don't think they were this overpowered in the first movie. And that's pretty much only complaint I have. It was nice that they didn't try to do the same thing again. This time it's a little bit different. Main story arc revolves around Star-Lord, but Star-Lord doesn't have that much of character arc. Most of the character arcs goes to Yondu, Nebula and Rocket the Raccoon, but Star-Lord stays the same almost the whole movie. Other characters get more dimensions from the first movie. There's a new character called Mantis. She was as good as all the other characters in Guardians of the Galaxy. At least these characters that get some character development. She is this empathy who don't know how to behave with people, and Drax don't know how to behave with people, and they have very good scenes together. Based on trailers, I thought they got Drax wrong, but when I saw the movie they got Drax perfectly. He's not exactly like he was in the first movie, but this works also. I liked how Nebula and Yondu got much more character development, and their character arc goes from what they were in first movie to second movie where they almost become part of Guardians of the Galaxy. They get as much background as Guardians of the Galaxy members. And what's even better, the character arcs started from the first movie and it continues to the second movie where they got some payback for what they did in first movie, and what they made in first movie. It might look bad, but now that we have learned more about them, they had their reasons to be what they were in first movie. And that's one thing what makes this movie so good. My favorite scenes were when Nebula told what she will be doing with her money, and one where Groot tries to get Finn for Yandu. I think those scenes were back to back, or this Nebula scene was in middle of this Finn scene. I hope there were more of these small scenes, but there were too much of this action where Guardians were fighting against dozens and dozens of enemies, and you didn't feel like they were in danger. They were choking all the time. I don't know if we were supposed to care about this action. At the moment I think Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2 is not at the level of the first movie, but it's not far behind. Maybe after I see it second time I start to like it more. It wasn't as big disappointment as Age of Ultron, which kind of dropped the ball. Vol. 2 tries to do something different from the first movie, but it works. And now the spoiler warning. Like I said at the beginning, these are not spoilers as such, but if you have stayed unspoiled until this time and you don't want to know what happened in the end credit scenes and one cameo, you should stop this video right now. Watcher's cameo was quite interesting. First they were talking with Stan Lee. It was Stan Lee cameo somewhere in the middle of the movie, and then they got end credit scene where they left Stan Lee. If you don't know Watchers from the comics, they are this superpowered ancient race that only watches what happens. When something major is happening, they record that, and when you see Watcher in comics, you know that this is the big deal. They are watching it. And it was interesting to see Watchers leaving Stan Lee in the mid-credit scene. Maybe this was because of Infinity War, which will be the big thing in Marvel Cinematic Universe. Or maybe it was for Thor Ragnarok, which might start the Infinity War, but whatever it was, it hinted that something big is happening. Okay, we know that Infinity War will be the big thing, but it was nice thing that this movie also gave us comic fans this Watcher moment. Another thing I want to talk about was Adam, which is most likely Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock was quite big in Infinity Gauntlet, which is the comic that Infinity War is based on, and Adam Warlock was big in Infinity Gauntlet sequels. I'm not that big fan of Adam Warlock. I don't like him. He's quite boring. He's kind of this space Jesus kind of guy who can do what he needs to do at the moment, and he's like this all-powerful guy who don't have any personality. He just appears to these big cosmic events, and then those events revolve around him. I hope they make him more interesting in Marvel Cinematic Universe than he is in comics. It tells something about popularity of the Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2 that it's still in theaters after 2 months. It's not on the biggest screens, but it's still there. I might be making a few new movie review videos in future, but no promises about that. That was it for this time. See you next time.